Bob Goff, it is so good to have you back at the Happy Home Podcast. We have talked about whimsy. We've talked about love does, all these things. And now we are talking about your newest Bible study, A Journey with Jesus, an interactive guide through the Holy Land. What does this look like when Bob Goff does a Bible study?
Yeah, I really love doing that. I write books. Yeah, when I teach people about writing books, I always tell them, figure out who's in the chair and write your book to that person in the chair. Like if you wanted to write to somebody who is in a second year of seminary, then you'd use different language and maybe a bunch of Bible verses that connect with that. If you're writing to the guy that works at the tire store, you'd probably write a little bit different book. And so if you think of Love Does, everybody always, a series of books, those are for the guy at the tire store. As a person that is faith like adjacent. And so I thought, who has done a study that is just plain spoken, that goes through the Holy Land and says, this is what happened at Caesarea. This is what, there's this place called Capernaum. And they check out what it would be like to whatever. So I think this is for the person that is mature in their faith.
So you mentioned Capernaum, and I love that that is the first stop. This is where in the Bible, Jesus is going to heal Peter's mother-in-law. And in a way that only Bob Goff would say, you say something like, hey, maybe that had to do something with Peter's denial, which I just loved that so much.
Every mother-in-law joke right here.
So in Mark 8, in Capernaum, there's a blind man that is healed. Can you tell us what I want us to hear and understand is like, it took not just one touch from Jesus, but there were two things that happened with Jesus before that man could see. Can you take us there to Capernaum?
Yeah, but actually, if you're familiar with the story and listening, like Jesus touches this blind guy in the eyes, and he looks and he says, "I see people, but they look like trees." And there's something about the authenticity. Like if Jesus touched me in the eyes, man, even if I couldn't see anything, I'd be like, "I'm good.
I'm good." It's so true. Thanks a lot.
About the power of a second touch to say, actually, I need a second touch. And whether you've been following Jesus for 5 minutes or 50 years, that idea of the authenticity to like just get a second touch. What would that look like? What would that mean in your life? And so against the backdrop of being in these places where Jesus did these aren't just like happy stories. They're like stories that point towards something in our life. And that's the idea. So if somebody is just like wants to watch the videos, awesome. If that's how you receive information visually, that's great. For others, they may want to dig in a little deeper. And so we made some words to go with that and a study guide. So for everybody, it's different. I just want like on-ramps to a freeway. You just find your on-ramp because they're all headed towards Jesus. And to say like, so what's your intersection point? People that want to bring people along in this, where they're faith adjacent. They want to create a safe spot. The hope would be, can we make something that would create the environment where we can have these really rich conversations? Acts 2 and 4, it said they broke bread together and they had things in common. So it's like, like you pound the carbs.
Yeah. Yes.
And then have some things in common, have these conversations that go to depth.
And this can happen in small groups. Your study is so perfect for that. I can also see parents doing it with children and teenagers and taking a little trip to Israel with you. What was it like for you? Like, let's just take Capernaum. When you're there, is there anything that, wow, this passage came to life, or wow, this was the second touch I needed from God?
Yeah, I think the thing that you hopefully will take away from this, and that I've been to the Holy Land quite a few times, the relative distances. So when it says that Jesus got on the boat and went to the other side, you know that's about 7 miles, like to go from here to there, and you can see the other side. And so like to have the visual of saying, I get that, what that would be like. And then when I'm in Israel, I'll go stay on the other side and to say like, gosh, I wonder what it was like when the people landed here, or the story of was going across, and then there was a guy that was like possessed by all kinds of crazy, and then Jesus called out the crazy, and the crazy said, "Throw us in the pigs," and then the pigs went over the cliff. And so to actually be there and to think through, like, what was a great day for the crazy guy was a really bad day for the pigs, and a
Right.
worse day for the pig farmers. So to just say, like, what was like a bad day for you? And so to integrate places and people and stories and to visually intersect that. And my hope would be that people would have a chance to go over there someday. Go find Southwest Airlines doesn't go there yet, but when they do, you can get there for cheap.
That's right.
And until then, maybe what you can do is follow along with some voices that you trust and some places that you've gone. And it's not information I'm trying to convey. It's like a tap on the shoulder. It's sort of remember this idea of what happened in your life, about the hardships that you're facing.
Yeah.
Remembered 8,672 times in the scriptures, because I'm a scriptures guy.
Yeah.
Remember what Jesus has done in your life, or if you're faith adjacent, you remember these circumstances that have happened in your life, and to say, can you draw a connect between this and this? And who knows?
And some of the faith adjacent people might be our kids. Sometimes we assume, oh, my child has been raised in church, my teenager's been raised in church, they're good, and they're not quite as close to the Lord as we'd want them to be, or maybe even think them to be. So to have these conversations, what are ways that parents, do you think, can help their kids remember what God has done? Because there's so much about passing the goodness of God to generation. And then how can we remind ourselves, perhaps out loud, so that our kids are hearing us remember?
Yeah, you don't have to go across an ocean, just like go
Yeah.
across the street. Like, just when it says to love your neighbor, to just don't find the nicest neighbor in the block that makes cookies for everybody, all that. Find the one that creeps you out. I'm not
The
saying
grumpy one.
the one that's dangerous. I'd just say the one that has actually kind of got some rough edges,
Yeah.
to say, how can we love them? And when loving people has an agenda, it isn't love anymore. It's a program. And so we're not trying to make a program out of finding creepy people and fixing them. We're just realizing that we're all a little off-putting. I'm somebody's creepy person.
Right.
There's no doubt a neighbor down the way
Uh,
thinks like old man Goff, he is one creepy dude. But it won't be because I'm doing creepy things in other people's eyes. It's just the things that they don't understand. And so what I want to do is offset some of these misunderstandings that we have and misconnects with a genuine curiosity. I wonder
yeah.
how your Tonka truck rolls, because it does not roll the way my Tonka truck rolls. Find those people, seek
Yeah.
them out, and just with curiosity say, what's a busy day for you? What does that look like?
Love with curiosity. And
What a great combination.
yeah, I really like I was just looking at your social media, and the quote was, we're living letters. Every time we love people without an agenda, we add a page. And
Yeah, I
that
think
just goes so good. Look, I'm quoting yourself back to you. It just goes so well with what you just said.
yeah, I just really like the idea, and it kind of the basis for some of this is Philippians 2:20, and it's Paul talking about Timothy. He said, "I don't have anybody like Timothy. He's a guy who takes a genuine interest in other people's welfare." And so, whatever the hot topic of the day is on the news, and there's plenty of them, to just say, "How can I take a genuine interest in other people's welfare?" And it might be in big macro, what do we do with this country, that, or it might be just being curious with your mail carrier.
Yeah.
Say, hey, do you need a bottle of water? Are you hungry? Do you want an In-N-Out burger? But you just be prepared. And if they don't,
Right.
then just pound that thing.
Yeah, that's exactly. Oh, in your Bible study, you talk about that you fly planes, which maybe some people do not know, which I think is very cool. And you said that going up and going down was just fine, which that's to us, seems like the tricky part, but it's how to talk on the radio that
Isn't
messed
that
you up, which
crazy?
would make us be like, wait, what? Bob Goff doesn't know how to talk? Tell us about that.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to tell the guy in the control tower, like, that reminds me of a story when I was young. They just be like, just the fact. Just tell me,
Totally.
who are you? Where are you? And what do you want? That's it. Who I am. November 5-6 Delta. Where are you? I'm at the outer marker. And what do you want? I'm asking for permission to land. If we could enter into conversations, this is for you verbal processors out there, and just say, who are you? Where are you? What do you want? Like who you are, like just to say, not by like your title or what your driver's license says, but like, who are you? Like I'm a pastor of a church of 12, like a sweet Maria, me, the three people we made, the three people they married, and the
That
four
they
people
made.
they
Yeah.
made. So to say that's who I am, I'm
Yeah.
not some of my successes or failures. And if you're listening, you aren't either. But, and then where are you? Like, where are we actually at? The first conversation between God and man after it got wonky.
Yeah.
Where are you? And then, like the blind man, ask them, what do you want? Like, I don't think Jesus was confused because, and the blind man was yelling at everybody he was blind. But to ask, have some clarity about what do you want? And that's not selfish, it's strategic. And so, what a great jumpstart, I hope, against the backdrop of a place that maybe somebody's heard of in the Holy Land, going through this valley of the shadow of death, to say, so we're in that valley right now. It's just down from the Kidron Valley, like to say, and this is what happened there. Or if we're up on the Mount of Olives, to say, this is evidently where Jesus is coming back. Now, I leave my cell phone number in the back of 3 million books. And I had a guy call me and I said, hello. And he said, well, this is Jesus. And I said, oh, where are you? And he was in Stockton. And I'm like, actually, it was supposed to come back in the
Mount of
Kidron
Olives.
Valley. So what I'd like you to do is by gathering some information, maybe this will tease out from you an interest in some of these places, and to say, not so that like a Bible study where you like study information, but a Bible doing to say, what am I going to do about the information that I have?
You have the place that you visited where the friends of the lame man cannot get into the house where Jesus is. So these friends don't just give up like, oh, church is too crowded. We're going to take off. They say, no, let's figure out a way. There's a thatched roof. They go up there. They lower this guy down to Jesus. How can we be more like those kinds of friends?
Yeah, well, just first start by thinking of a couple lame friends that you have. I don't mean it's not physically,
Right. I love that. Let's quote
emotionally
that. Think of
disabled.
your lame friends.
So I'm surrounded by people. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So think about the people, and we think sometimes that we are lowering our friends in front of Jesus, and actually, it's some of our lame friends that are lowering us.
Yeah.
That the way that we react to people when they say something super lame, like when they just say something untoward. There's some people like then it's like ready, shoot, aim. Like they say something and then they think about it. So I would just like to train my thought bubble to think about it, keep it in my thought bubble, and decide if I'm going to release it. But that is a bit of a holding pattern. And I've
Yeah.
learned that as a trial lawyer, just keep it in your thought bubble a little bit. And then when somebody said something even more lame than the thing I was thinking about, and they actually say what should not be said. Somebody's had a huge personal, like gut wrenching loss, and then somebody says something lame, like they're in a better place right now. We're actually having your spouse with you is a better place. Um, but to just be like kind towards them, to say, they didn't know what to say, so they
Yeah.
just said something stupid by mistake. And the stupid shelf is huge, and we all
We
act.
all do it.
Yeah, and to just say just be a little kind. Don't be like they're so lame. Just be like, no, actually, flip the mirror and say like, but what I've done is I've used that idea of keeping it in my thought bubble for a little
Yeah.
bit. Count to three, maybe for some of you, count to 10 a couple times. Really like size that up before you contribute.
Keep it in the bubble, people.
Keep it in the bubble.
Max Lucado was on a few weeks ago and he said, just because you have a thought, you don't have to think it. And
Yes,
so
and
just because you have a thought bubble, you don't have to make a comic strip out of it. You can leave it where it is.
Just because you have an opinion doesn't make you right.
Yeah.
Just another guy with an opinion. They're like ears. Like everybody except Van Gogh has a couple of them.
That's just so funny. So Caesarea by the Sea, it's stop 5 in your Bible study. Talk about that fast horse. I really liked that idea.
Yeah, trying to think of the analogy that I gave, but finding your fast ponies, the ones that are
It's
out
that
in
it's that
front.
story that gets there the quickest.
Yeah,
It's the
whatever it is,
yeah.
it's like being cheating. I'm not like we have a horse racing track here in Del Mar, and people put on their bonnets and their suits and they go out and cheer for the horses and bet on them. But it would be like betting on all the horses, but then figuring out the one that's out in front of all of them and jump on that one. And I don't always know which of my ideas are going to work and which won't. And I'm not trying to like edit them out in advance. I want to go with the fast ponies. And it's the ones that are the most lasting because I used to want to do things that worked. Now I want to do things that last.
Mm.
And so as you're looking at the opportunities that are in front of you, some people are afraid they're going to lose their job and others are afraid they're going to keep it. Like to just look at the opportunities in front of you, say, what's the fastest pony here that's going to get me actually to a lasting place, not just the winner's circle. I want to just like get to something that lasts. I
Yeah.
like the Iroquois Indians. They use this 7 generations idea. Is it going to last 7 generations from now?
Yeah.
Love that idea that
Yes.
will give us more of an eternal worldview.
What is going to last? That's so beautiful. David Green from Hobby Lobby was on several months ago just talking about 3 generations, always thinking 3 generations, and you're looking at your children, your grandchildren, and all those things. Tell us a few of your aha moments when you were recording this.
Well, you know what happened when I was recording this is they're actually in the middle of a really big conflict.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yeah, and I was staying up in the Golan Heights with some friends, maybe a mile from Syria. And so we would all like spend their evenings there. And I called Sweet Maria on the phone. I'm like, we're rained out today. This big thunderstorm came in. It turns out I didn't look outside. I thought it was thunder.
Oh
This is
my goodness.
artillery
Oh my
and
goodness.
drones
Oh
and attack.
goodness.
I had to
It's
laugh
just,
later. I was like, oh, yikes.
yeah.
I just thought it was some, but it was
Right.
Lebanon launching rockets and they were launching them
Oh
back.
my
I just
goodness.
thought it was thunder and lightning.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah. So I think the whole idea in a place that has been the center of so much controversy
Yeah.
over so many centuries, and it continues, can we get past some of the distraction of these really important issues that need to be dealt with? But to like, instead of being distracted by all that, can we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus? And that whole idea comes from Hebrews 12:1, that to run this race with endurance, like not getting tripped up by
Yeah.
stuff that ensnares us so easily, but keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. And I hope to that the series, the videos, would take somebody who would be able to quote that page and verse, and the guy at the tire store. They'd just be like, he wouldn't go to church. And I hope it feels invitational, accurate, and it actually points people in the direction that God would want them to ultimately be in.
I have a friend who's like, I don't need to travel because all I need to do is just put on YouTube, like they'll look at Thailand and then order in Thai food and then just sit there and have this little experience, which is kind of funny
No
and cute,
TSA.
right?
I like that.
So
No
this is what they
passport.
will do. And that certainly is amazing in this technological age, but actually physically going somewhere new. I mean, if you don't make it all the way to Israel, just like a new restaurant, a new town, a new place,
Oh,
30
I
minutes
like
away.
that.
How does going somewhere just new help people get curious, kind of develop curiosity? I just want you to give us like a little curiosity primer because you're so good at that.
I'm just thinking about how, think in your life, if you're listening, the a place you've gone to, and you go to the Dominican Republic, and you meet 1 or 2 or 3 people in the Dominican, and then a big storm hits the Dominican Republic, and you go like, "Oh, I love all those guys, like all 4 million of them. I love them." And the reality is, you've only met 3 or 4 of them, but we extrapolate to everybody. Similarly, if you've had a really bad experience somewhere, where 2 or 3 bad guys gave you a really hard time, be like, I hate that country, like all 5 million of them. So what I want us to do is I want people to meet men and women of faith, flawed like the disciples were, and to feel like they meet us and they've actually met Jesus. like they've met all the heavenly hosts, like they met everybody, the millions that are in heaven. And I think if we were an accurate representation of those things with our humanity and all of our picadillos, hopefully the message of this series is to say, just come in here, bring all your messed up, all the lame things you've thought of, all of your flaws and picadillos. I've got a friend, if you brush up against him on his left, he taps his right arm. He separates all of his food so it never touches. Like the peas can't touch the carrots.
Oh my word.
I'm like, dude, I thought that was weird until I was in a hotel room recently and it had a telephone that was like plugged into the wall, which is so you'd have to explain it to your kids. But the phone is twisted. The little
cord
on it. And I had to untwist the phone before I could make a call. And I'm thinking, I am so weird. Like I'm dangling it, letting it spin out. And I think if we could realize that we're just all just deeply in need of a savior, that we're not in need of self-improvement, but in the context of going to the Holy Land and to see the people that he interacted with and to experience those sights and sounds when he points to a city on the hill, to be able to say, oh, that's the one. Like, it's not one of a dozen cities on the hill, like that would be the one, Hippos. And so when you see that, then you understand the crazy guy and the pigs, because there's some cliffs they took a jump off of. And I think hopefully in this series, we take people there, we tap them on the shoulder and say, remember what your life experience has been. And they'll walk away from that with whatever it is God has for them.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Bob, how can people find out more about you, and tell us the name of your study again?
Well, short of being on the side of a milk carton, I'm a pretty easy guy to find and to find out information.
Your cell phone is in the wind. It's everywhere.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Call me. We never talk.
Call me.
Yeah. So bobgoff.com is the way to get a hold of me. And any way that we can be wind under your wings. With what you're doing in the podcast, with what other people are doing, that's how I'm going to spend the rest of the days I've got.
It's beautiful. You've made such a lasting impact through your books, through your speaking, and thank you so much for this new study to get us more in love with Jesus than ever. Thanks so much, Bob.
Oh, thanks a million.